My next guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy, suffers from multiple personality disorder, meaning she's blocked out many of the terrifying and painful memories of her childhood. Meet Rachel, who is also in disguise to protect her identity. You come from generations of ritualistic abuse?
Yes, my family has an extensive family tree, and they keep track of who's been involved and who hasn't been involved. And it's gone back to, like, 1700.
And so you were...
Right. I was born into a family that believes in this.
And does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl?
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really? And so who knows about it? Lots of people now.
I talked to a police detective in the Chicago area, and several of my friends know, and I've spoke publicly before. And
so when you were brought up in this kind of evilness, did you just think it was normal?
I've blocked out a lot of the memories I had because of my multiple personality disorder. But yes, I mean, it's like if you grow up with something, you think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought something...
So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to, you know...
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back. The other thing I want to point out, not all Jewish people sacrifice babies. I mean,
no.
It's not a very
typical thing.
I just want to point that out.
This is the first time I heard of any Jewish people sacrificing babies. But anyway, so you witnessed the sacrifice?
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Uh-huh. Power. And so, were you ever used? Were you ever used yourself?
I was molested. I was raped several times.
Mm-hmm. And what's your mother doing?
She's
in all of this. What's her role in all of this?
I'm not exactly what her role is. I haven't, recovered all of my memories, but her family was extremely involved. Mm-hmm. She brought me to it. Mm-hmm. Both of my parents brought me to it.
And where is she now?
She lives in the Chicago metropolitan area. She's on the Human Relations Commission of the town that she lives in, and she's an upstanding citizen. Nobody would suspect her.
Were you raised with a sense of right and wrong, Rachel?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I had both. I mean, to the outside world, everything we did was proper and right, and then there were the nights that things changed, that things just got turned around. What was wrong was right, and what was right was wrong. That's what helps to create somebody to develop MPD.
Mm-hmm. Multiple personality.
Right.
Now, in your family, did you all call it worshiping the devil?
No,
Rachel, or
I don't know.
It was just evil, these things you did.
Right. Well, I said it was evil, and they said it was good. There's a book that I had just come across called Lilith's Cave, which is a book of Jewish mysticism and supernatural, and there's a lot in that book that relates to what I, endured when I was a child.
All right, so we are back on the broadcast here, and you heard what she just said there about Jewish mysticism, and I think what she's approaching getting into right there is Kabbalah. Who else do we know who studies Kabbalah? Madonna, the one you've seen in the picture there with the big Illuminati pyramid on the back of her jacket. Madonna studies the Kabbalah. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. Jewish mysticism is equated with or involved with Satanism. This is just the way it is. I'm just telling you the facts here, folks. Now, I'm not going to have all day to talk here. Consider this broadcast an introduction to Satanism. I'm going to run through some points rather quickly. I hope people were paying attention to Fritz Springmeier yesterday. It was very, very good and very detailed. I was impressed with him. I mean, the guy's been in prison for like a decade, just got out. He hasn't done much talking now that he's back out of prison. He was framed, of course, to shut him up. But I mean, you look at the work he was doing before he was in prison, and he's saying things. He's got a, what do they call that thing? That stupid thing they put in a classroom that like puts stuff on the wall. I don't know what it's called, but he's got these slides, these full-page slides. He puts this one on here, and it's a picture of a cat. So this was a top-secret Illuminati castle in Belgium until I started this lecture course. I mean, this is how hardcore Fritz Springmeier was. This was a top Illuminati secret castle until I started this course. So he was outing them in a major way, the way I would if I had that information. So, of course, I would be organizing teams and, you know, taking sledgehammers up there and tearing it to pieces once we have the numbers. But very, very good Fritz Springmeier is. And so that was interesting to hear, just at least the 5 minutes that I did. Okay, getting back to Satanism here. You'll find time and time again this involves sacrifices. Babies being sacrificed in the celebrity or the music realm, relatives being sacrificed. You know, you have to sacrifice someone to get to the top or make a deal once you're at the top. Somebody in your family will be sacrificed. And I don't know how specific they get about that kind of thing, but we see it happen time and time again. Fritz was talking about how in that castle, babies were sacrificed in the basement daily, drained their blood, and books were written with that blood, talking about the accomplishments that the Illuminati was making at that time to reign into existence the New World Order. That's what this is all about, folks. Every broadcast I do, I'm trying to put an axe in the forehead of the New World Order. So if I'm talking about satanic sacrifice, I'm talking about it in reference to the New World Order. If I'm talking about whatever, it's always in reference to the new. If I'm talking about the raw food diet, it's in reference to the New World Order. Now, some people say, well, how can they be getting away with this? They're getting away with it because you have to understand, you live in a false reality, and the people who are controlling the reality in which you live, the media, the judges, the police, the politicians, are involved in a Satanism. Maybe not every single one of them, but the ones that aren't know to keep their mouths shut. Who was the president that said there is a conspiracy so big, so vast, that people will hardly speak of it above a whisper? Everybody's living in fear. And I've told you in the past that nobody is more afraid than the New World Order itself. They live in fear. Make no mistake about it. That doesn't mean they're innocent, and that doesn't take away any of their guilt. But they live in fear. They're certainly a lot more afraid than I am. They're not talking about it. I make it my job to broadcast about this. I'm not afraid of anything. They come here to kill me. You know what? I know where I'm going. There is no fear here. They're afraid. And everybody else is afraid to talk about it. Half of them because they don't think there's any truth to it. The other half because they're afraid there is. So we need to just get to the facts. Where is John Todd? If there's nothing to this, where's John Todd? I really wish I could read my handwriting better. I got some notes here by the camera, and a lot of it's pretty important. Child vampirism is mentioned in all references to Satanism. You know, and people have this illusionary notion that it involves animals. Animal sacrifices. This is not the case. This may be what they tell you on the news. But why do you think so many children are coming up missing? And we also heard her mention, the fat lady on Oprah there, how, you know, they had certain people whose job was to create babies, to be sacrificed. How many of you remember this missing child, Elizabeth Smart? Remember? She was just missing. Elizabeth Smart went missing, and 9 months later, miraculously, out of nowhere, Elizabeth Smart shows back up. And people were saying, she looks like she just had a baby. Okay, I don't remember what they were saying. They were either saying she looked like she was pregnant before she came up missing, or when she came back, they said she looks like she had a baby. One or the other. People were speculating she was missing for 9 months because she was pregnant. Maybe pregnant by her father. I don't know. But there were also allegations going around that other couples were coming over to the house and that they were having orgies. And the daughter goes missing for 9 months, comes home, maybe just delivered a baby. Baby, nowhere to be seen, never heard of. No charges brought against anyone. What the freak is going on there? If you had a child that was missing for 9 months and it was all over the mainstream media, somebody's going to jail, no matter what. But you see, the judges, the police, the politicians, they're all in on it. Now, when I say I want to address society at large, it's because the New World Order has worked to implement all of the things it used to do on a one-on-one basis into a system in our society. So, where, for instance, they used to take someone's baby and kill it, or get someone to give their baby so they could kill it. Now we have abortion mills where people line up, pay money, and fork over babies. It's part of our culture now. And one could make the argument that these are sacrifices to Molech. Molech representing the financial system. Oh, I don't have money to have a baby, so I'm going to sacrifice the child. And it's systematic. It's evil.
And tonight there's controversy over an upcoming event at the Civic Center.
A Metro church will hold the first public satanic ritual ever. New at 10, Eyewitness News 5's Carla Wade has been busy tonight, and she has the details.
Because generally the unknown spreads fear. We're not trying to scare anybody or anything else.
For most Christians, Satanism is an unknown they would prefer not to explore, and despite acknowledging the presence of evil in the world.
Yes, Satan is alive, and he's at work, and this is evidence of that.
And they have no idea what Satanists do, who they are, and what would lead the son of a Christian minister like James Hale down what Satanists call the left-hand path.
I personally found the Satanic Bible whenever I was 8 years old in a public library. Read it there. They wouldn't let me check it out. And it made sense to me.
Now, Hale says it makes sense to introduce those on the right-hand path to Satanism in a public place.
If they want to educate the public, that's fine, but we believe they should know something about what they're educating them about.
Okay, now I'm going to pause that right there, because what we're seeing here is a local news company, and we've heard this in reference to the New Age infiltration of the truth movement, in that they are bringing to the forefront information they need the public to have before they can embrace it. In other words, you can't embrace Satanism, you can't become a Satanist, or you can't become less uncomfortable with Satanism if you don't know what it is or that it exists. So just like the New Age movement is making people aware of the ancient deities, this news channel is making people aware of Satanism. They even have somebody on the news saying, well, Satanism isn't a bad thing. You know, that's the... crap, I got a break here. You're listening to Hardcore Harry, and I am death to the New World Order, streaming to you live at freethinkradio.com, UnitedTruthSeekers.com, and eternally at D2NWO.com.